The 2024 NBA season has officially come to a close, and with that, it's time to rank the 10 best players right now. Because the league is more talented than ever before, there have been a few snubs which I will address later on in this video. Without further ado, let's get into it. At 10, I have Jalen Brunson. If you were to tell me 2 years ago that Brunson would be a top 10 player, I wouldn't believe you. However, he has been nothing short of extraordinary as he put up 29 points on 47% from the field and 40% from downtown. He also demonstrated great resilience and played incredibly well in the postseason. He led an injury-riddled Knicks team to the second round. He had a great season and earns a number 10 spot on this list. At 9, I have Kevin Durant. KD had another great regular season on the back of an efficient 27 points per game. Now yes, the way his Suns went down to Minnesota left a bad last impression. And yes, his lack of aggression when Towns was guarding him was disappointing. However, he still poured his usual 27 points on increased efficiency. Durant performing at his level at season 17 is insane, and it gives him the number 9 spot on this list. At 8, I have LeBron James. LeBron had another well-rounded season behind a very efficient 26, 8, and 7. In his 21st NBA season, he really didn't fully unleash himself as he was more content to allow his team to take more of a workload. However, once again, he elevated his numbers come playoff time. His scoring and playmaking output increased on a higher field goal percentage. Sure, he may not play like a top 10 player in the regular season. However, he's still able to elevate his play in not only the clutch, but also the playoffs. Before I move on, I'd like to give a few honorable mentions to certain players. For this list, they didn't make the cut, but they are deserving. They are Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, Anthony Edwards, Victor Wembanyama, Jaylen Brown, Anthony Davis, Tyrese Halliburton, De'Aaron Fox, Ja Morant, and Trae Young. By the same time next year, I anticipate that some of these guys will earn a spot on this list. Now, let's continue. At 7, I have Jayson Tatum. Tatum had a great regular season statistically, which is impressive considering all his scoring help. However, outside of his playmaking, I was pretty disappointed by his playoff performance. He played great, but not like a top 5 player in the league. Even in the finals, he didn't play well in 3 out of 5 games. It also doesn't help that Brown took home both the Eastern and Finals MVP. I don't want to make it sound like I don't like Tatum, because I do. I even made this video calling him overhated. All things considered, I believe 7 is a good spot for him. At 6, I have Joel Embiid. Just to make it clear, the margin between number 6 all the way to 1 is very slim. With that being said, Embiid is an extremely polarizing player. If we factor just the regular season, then he is probably the number 1 on this list. The reason I have him at 6 is the playoffs. I do have to give him credit for playing well against the Knicks this postseason. However, he hasn't played well in the past, especially in elimination games. Embiid hasn't ever made it out of a second round once in his career. I do think he can turn that around soon, and once he does, he's definitely going to be higher. At 5, I have Steph Curry. As someone who has watched around 60 Warrior games, I will say I think Curry is pretty underrated. Draymond was in and out of the lineup, Wiggins was not playing the same, and there wasn't very much consistency with Golden State. Yet, he still managed to have a good year and lead the Warriors to 46 wins. He did that while obliterating every other player in clutch stats. Not to mention his improved defensive ability. I considered putting him at 4, but I think the player ahead is pretty hard to argue against. At 4, I have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. For the second straight season, he has played incredible, finishing second in MVP voting. He did that on the back of a very efficient 30 points per game with 6 assists. He's a great 3-level scorer who makes the right plays with the ball in his hands. Another talking point about him that fans just seem to sleep on is defense. He isn't just good, he's exceptional. Outside of being sound on the ball, he's also a pickpocket as he averages 2 steals a game. This catapulted him to 7th in the Defensive Player of the Year race. That's ahead of Giannis, Jared Allen, and Derek White. If he can lead the Thunder to a finals, he can potentially climb up this list. At 3, I have Luka Doncic. Luka had an absolutely stellar season as he averaged a near 34-point triple-double. Not just that, his Mavericks made it to the finals for the first time since 2011. If he improved his perimeter defense and the Mavericks won a title, he could potentially climb up all the way to the 1 slot. At 2, I have Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Greek Freak hasn't been healthy for the last 2 playoff runs, and if that continues, it will be hard to justify his ranking. With that being said, Giannis is an established superstar. Just this past season, he averaged a 30-point double-double with nearly 7 assists. His offensive game has evolved as his shooting and playmaking have improved. Defensively, he's still one of the best players in the league right now. He's proven that he can elevate his play in the playoffs and even has a ring to show for it. For right now, I have Giannis at 2. And finally at 1, I have Nikola Jokic. He's still an offensive hub with eyes on the back of his head. There isn't much doubt here as he's a 3-time MVP. Yes, his Nuggets lost to Minnesota, but that's mainly due to their lack of depth. Until something significant happens, I don't see the Joker moving from the spot. Anyways, if you made it this far and enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing because I post all things basketball. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.